Today is July 2nd, 2025. The time is currently 7:22 p.m. 70. Back to featureless every day we drifted on following, as before the streams of Galilee. The name given to that lobe of our galaxy, which in contrast to other lobes can be described in human star terms, which does not mean that Gazalnut can be mastered or contained within the boundaries of human life. No, Gazalnut just means, as things stand, a smaller lobe measuring 4 galactaves. One galactave is 15,000 light-years wide. In astronomy, one usually reckons that the entire Milky Way covers a span of some 800,000 galactaves. No, save us, please, the torment of trying to explain in measurements the vastness into which Aniara has been plunged. 71. The Space Mariner. Every time I try to check my memoirs, it seems to me that I can trace Nobia to Tlaloc Tlauloctitli, a tiny hospital base in the mountains of Dorema. This is a town which no one sees, where hospitals are blasted into rock. An old deserted mine was once donated for the building of this town, which after some needed reinforcement of the mountain and alteration of its inner structure, was established at a depth of 1,500 feet under the valley. I journey in thought now, more and more often to this place, which the Samaritans, with their money-box funds, have bought and built themselves. They say it cost something like the sum of 3,000,000 daima. In Gondic currency, 500,000 gondi. In Rindic Fano coins, 5,000,000 rondi. They collected this money for 11 years. They built, as deep as possible, for safety, a reserve station among Dorema's mountains. When one has lived long among friends, among fiends, such goodness is like an exotic garden, whose fruits evince its real nature, and single happiness is voiced by cuckoos singing in the gardens of the heart. 72. Time went on. Years came and vanished in the cold and glassy reaches. Life grew gradually more timeless for most people as they huddled, peering from the lofty windows, half expecting that some planet would break loose from its companions, head towards them, and come closer. Children grew up, played, and gambled on the... That's not gambled, it's Gambolled, on the tundra of the exiles, on the mouldering ballroom floors now grown shabby and uneven. Modern times breed modern customs. Jurg was long ago forgotten, and poor dance-demented Daisy slept forever in her corner of the vault where only honored prima ballerinas lie. I really like that line. I myself sat quietly thinking of the glorious Karelia, where I once lived long ago, where I lingered through a lifetime, spending more than 30 winters, more than 29 summers, before seeking other countries, meeting other fresh adventures on the path of transmigration. Memories return in flashes. Here in Cosmos there's no barrier. Ages merge, and I still see fragments from the different countries of my soul's long pilgrimage. Fairest of these pictures are the glimpses of Karelia, like a blue streak between tree trunks, like the paling summer waters. In the June translucent twilight, when an evening scarcely deepens, ere the cuckoo sends his flute-like invitation to sweet Aino, to swathe veils of mist about her, rise above the summer waters, go towards the soaring smoke wreaths, come to meet the cheerful cuckoo midst Karelia's murmuring winds. Oh, if one could take advice, good advice, from days long past, where laws are dead, whose fields time has burned away. Here I sit on Mima's halls, remembering that once I lived another life in which I learned wisdom from plain fare. Here I sit, where is my mother? Here I sit, where is my sweetheart, in a better world than this one? Was it because I used my knife that I may not have my dear one? Plunged it into my stepfather's chest as he smugly left the sauna, squeezing my girl's breast with his hand? Where did all that happen? I recall. I can still see the glen, the forests deep in Karelia, the land of sagas. Here I sit with all those others who boast roughly of their worlds, what they did and how they fared sumptuously on the King of Stars. 90 centuries ago, one evening, I sat quietly in the glen with my sweetheart just before it happened, before the god of judgment exiled me from Karelia's woodland gardens. It is good that sometimes one forgets, fortunate that memory only glimmers for a moment now and again, soothing to escape constant reminders of one's dreary pilgrimage. Best to watch and say nothing. Maybe divine guards are sitting here and listening. Who can tell? If I can endure, be patient. If in silence I repent, perhaps some far-off evening I may see the end of all my memories, reach the limit of my wanderings, and scrubbed clean and labelled worthy of the noble star of kings, settle like a bird in foliage deep in the Karelian woods. 73. Libidella, Secret Song of Melancholy. Does my dog sniff round your shadowy glen, Libidella, and my cat slumber in your high disdain, soft purring Libidelle? Does my ear hear only its own refrain, Libidella? Does my home lie in someone else's house, listening, Libidelle? Libidella, yield me your isthmus urn, now let Stella Alpha lights dimly burn. Midst the riddle of Alpha Centaurus, we wonder and weep together. O Nuda now in nudist glow, under Mandela's moon for two. Libidella, with me to Sirius turn. Nuntanella, yield me your isthmus urn. The widow so tantalizing obsesses the thoughts of men. O Nuda now in nudist glow, under Mandela's moon for two. Libidella, unclad in Nudanel, lift toward Stella, moon pale your Nudabel. In the starlight of Alpha Centauris, we pledge these toasts with our tears. O Nuda now in nudist glow, under Mandela's moon for two. I'm gonna pull up the other version of this because of the fact that it is more focused on rhyme stuff. So, also because I think it's interesting, specifically this one. This one is called Libidella Secret Dirge instead. It's quite similar, but does my dog knows where your nightwood grows, Libidella? Does my little sly cat pretend to doze? My purring Libidella, is my ear whispering its own soft calls, Libidella? Do I have a home in another man's walls, listening, Libidella? Libidella, pass me your isthmus vase, now let Stella kindle her alpha blaze. In Alpha Centauri's puzzle will shed hot tears and nuzzle. O Nuda you, pitch nudie woo in moonwood of lutes for two. Libidella, let's head for the dog star's rays. Let it swella, gain dear your isthmus vase. The merry old widow is slinking and setting the others to thinking. O Nuda you, pitch nudie woo in moonwood of lutes for two. Libidella, naked in Nudanel, raised to Stella, moonwhite your Nudabel. In Alpha Centauri's beaming, we'll toast with your teardrops streaming. O Nuda you, pitch nudie woo in the moonwood of lutes for two. I might in the future try to make that into more of a song. 74. Fear stares into a void that is too clear, interpreting without the aid of thought, so obvious is glassy death in cosmos, so obvious the emptiness which eases our understanding of the meaningless, so obvious the shooting star of fear. My friend, you know too much without having had to ponder. So while you slept, vast seas of space, mercilessly cleared, drowned your illusions, and fear's own light blazed forth like a sun. 75. A prize amounting to 10 million Gondi, a sum of money eagerly desired, was promised to anyone able to turn Golconda round and point her nose cone back to Doris's valleys. But that was years ago. The prize today concerns the comfortress in Mima's hall. Ah, who can penetrate the Mima's secrets? Who can give the enchantress back her wand? This is our cry, resounding in outer space. 76. With statistical notes on my knee, I listen quietly to our space historian, giving a lecture about the pioneers upon these seas, which though conquered, have yet been the grave of many. In former days we ascended much more steeply, Icarus, for example. Yes, there were those who actually imagined that given suitable leverage one might be fired from a rocket pedestal and thus avoid the curving forces and fields of outer space. When this idea was finally discarded, after costing those wretched folk many sacrifices, for instance Thanatos, the second phase emerged, called Heaven's Ladder, when in a succession of power thrusts one could propel one's liner from the fields. This in itself was a method quite acceptable, albeit extravagant and not without its risks. The accident statistics we see here speak for themselves of the problems that were vital in those far-off days before space was deflowered. Compared to the curve of our own age, judged too by our modern methods of measurement, the curve of earlier days would seem deficient. We are entitled, in fact, to term it crude.